we have been inspired by many stories on this stage over the last 20 years. And tonight we are going to welcome to the stage Jason Greenspan. Jason is a student at Shippensburg University and serves on the school's Relay for Life event leadership team, and he is a cancer survivor. So ladies and gentlemen, please make welcome Jason Greenspan to our stage.
Hi everyone, I just wanted to say thanks for letting me speak tonight. My name is Jason Greenspan and I'm a testicular cancer survivor. In May 2012, I was 18 and in my senior year of high school. I already applied to colleges and got accepted to many of them. The one I chose was Shippensburg University. I just finished planning for my prom. In my friend group, I'm usually the one that plans everything. Planning for this was enjoyable, but also a challenge. I already had the limo reserved, schedule made, and was ready to have the time of my life. But little did I know that my life was going to change in an instant. Testicular cancer is one of the most common cancers in young men between the ages of 15 to 35, yet there's almost no awareness of it. About a week before my prom, I was at home watching television and had a simple itch. That itch ended up being the most important itch of my entire life. I noticed something hard, something I didn't remember feeling before. Clearly, something wasn't right. It's difficult to describe, but I had this gut feeling that it was something horrible. I went upstairs to my mom and told her. She said that we would make a doctor's appointment, and we went a few days later. A couple days later, we went into my doctor's appointment. He checked me, then he said the words I never thought I would hear. You have cancer. There was so much running through my head. I tried my best, but a couple of tears ran down my face anyway. All I kept thinking to myself was, why me? After reading more information about testicular cancer, I quickly realized that it's a very curable cancer if detected early. I later found out the type of testicular cancer I had, stage 2A non-seminoma, which was detected early. Immediately, I had to start thinking about my treatment. After having an ultrasound and taking several blood tests, I met with my urologist and he informed me that I needed to have surgery. I never needed surgery before. I was terrified. I remember dreading that day. The morning of my surgery, I went to the hospital, got checked in, and sat in the waiting room. My family was with me as well. My grandparents, mom, uncle, stepdad, and stepbrother. It was amazing to have all the support that I had. Fortunately, the surgery didn't take long, and I was able to come home later that same day. After having my surgery, I thought that everything was okay and my nightmare was finally over with. It turned out the worst hadn't even started. After taking various tests such as x-rays, CT scans, and more blood work, I found out the cancer had spread. At this point, I had to think of further treatment. I had to meet with many oncologists until I found the one that would be best fit for me. The one I chose is phenomenal. He told my mom and me what would be happening and how to move further with my treatment. I needed to have 9 weeks of chemotherapy. I couldn't believe it. The first thing I always think of when I hear the word chemo is hair loss. I couldn't imagine losing my hair. It's always something that's been so important to me, and everyone who knows me knows that. That was my biggest fear of the entire experience. Well, in the beginning at least. My first day of chemo was okay. I remember walking in, sitting in the chair, getting hooked up, and asking my mom, "This is it? Chemo won't be hard." I later found out the statement would be far from the truth. Yeah, the first day wasn't terrible, but that was only the first day. The entire chemo experience is something that will haunt me forever. I would go into chemo each day during the first week, one day the second week, and one day the third week. That was considered one cycle. My treatment consisted of 3 cycles, or 9 weeks of chemotherapy. On the first Friday of each cycle, I would usually throw up. This was now my biggest fear. Towards the end of my chemo treatment, I needed to have an enormous amount of pricks from the IV needle each and every day I was there. I could be pricked up to 6 times on a bad day, but usually still 2 or 3 even on a good day. Unfortunately, this happened because after having chemo for so long, the nurses weren't able to get a straight path from the needle compared to before for me to receive my treatment. I remember one day when I was sitting in the chair, the nurses were trying to get the needle in my arm for me to receive my treatment, and it was so bad that it must have been at least 8 times. All I kept thinking to myself was, why me? That day was the only day during the entire 9 weeks that I cried. At my treatment facility, at least. The one thing on my mind was going home and hoping to end this terrible nightmare. All of the nurses at my treatment facility were wonderful. However, they actually couldn't see me most of the time. Whenever I went into the chemo room, I would always put my hood from my sweatshirt over my head, far enough so that my entire head wouldn't be visible. By doing this, it helped me so I wouldn't be able to look around, which got me sick. Every time I would see an IV bag or a person in one of the chemo chairs, my stomach would start to hurt. I joked later that if I went back to visit the nurses after I finished completing my treatment and was feeling better, they probably wouldn't even recognize me because they were never able to see my face. The entire cancer experience has allowed me to meet many amazing and inspiring people. I was able to meet other cancer survivors, caregivers, and other people who were affected by cancer in some way. For young men between the ages of 15 to 35, it's important to perform monthly testicular self-exams. To find out more information about testicular self-exams, please visit cancer.org. Sometimes there are no current symptoms and you might not have any pain. If you observe any changes or have any concerns regarding your testicle, contact your doctor immediately. Within a few months of finishing chemo, I joined a program called Cancer to 5K. I always wanted to run a 5K, but was never able to motivate myself enough. The program was comprised of many cancer survivors of all types of cancers, as well as dedicated volunteers and coaches to help assist us. It was probably the best experience of my life, and I now have lifelong friendships with people I never would have met without having cancer. The course of my first 5K actually went past the hospital where I got my surgery, as well as the building where I received my treatment. To me, it was a way of saying, I won cancer, not you. Once I started college, I knew that I wanted to bring awareness to the campus. So when I was a freshman at Shippensburg University, I joined the Colleges Against Cancer Club. The club raises awareness for all types of cancers via fundraisers throughout the year, as well as our annual Relay for Life event, which occurs in April. All of the money raised through the club gets donated to the American Cancer Society. Since being diagnosed and still to this day, I started my fundraiser called Stand By Cancer Now. I sell squish penny key rings, and wristbands. The money raised will help cancer patients going through what I had to go through and what many other people have to go through each and every day. 100% of the proceeds from today's event will be donated to the American Cancer Society. Let's help cancer patients with just one penny at a time and stamp out cancer now. Thank you.